And I'm joined with my panel, Labor commentator Stephen Conroy and New York Post and Daily Telegraph journalist Miranda Devine, who's back in town for the election campaign. Miranda, I just want to get your view on that, on what Stephen had to say, but also my contention, which is that the Teals are doing well, and the choice from the large number of undecided voters, up to 25%, is between a government they might be tired of, a Prime Minister they might not like, and a Labor leader they're not certain about, who has shown that he's not across the detail this campaign.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, it's really been the same since the days of the Howard Battler. Each election increasingly now is relying on this sort of crossover between Labor and Liberal, with the Liberal Party picking up those formerly Labor seats and the Labor Party or the Greens encroaching on blue ribbon seats, and I'm including the Teals in that group. And I think the issue with Scott Morrison is that, you know, when people, when they are now demonising him, say still on the ABC or in sections of the conservative media, they pick on things like, you know, a 2-year-old story about his going to Hawaii on holiday. And I just, having come back from overseas, I just feel like it's just Groundhog Day. Nothing's changed, and they obviously don't have a lot to criticise him for if they're still going after that Hawaii holiday. It's just there's a sour feeling in the country post-COVID. Any leader who led during COVID is on the nose. It's happening in New Zealand, it happened in the United States, it's happening in the UK. They're blamed for bad decisions. Everyone made bad decisions during COVID. But I have to say, Australia has come out of COVID really well in terms of the number of deaths. So I think that at the end, there are a lot of what John Howard calls grumpy Liberals. And I think that they're telling the pollsters that they're parking their vote in that 25% or 15% undecided camp. But when it comes to the privacy of the polling booth on Saturday, the 21st of May, I think we'll find that there will be a lot of them that will reluctantly vote for Scott Morrison, rather than, you know, if Albanese had shown himself to be a sort of a Kevin 07 style character or a Bob Hawke style character, if he'd been charismatic and full of promise and morning in Australia, I think possibly there's a mood for change in the community. But Albo's been around for a long time. He looks tired, and he's got a very light policy platform. It's inexplicable that he's not on top of the few details he has to be.
Yeah, it's a good point that he's not even across the light policy platform he has. It's not a very big and complex one. Stephen Conroy, I want to get your reaction to how angry Albanese got at the Australian's Rachel Baxendale on Friday, and this claim that questions about policy are gotcha journalism.
Well, look, I think Albo was showing a degree of frustration. I mean, the media now are actually running their own private election campaign over on the side. Most Australians want to know why and what the impact of rising interest rates and rising petrol prices in a few months and rising food prices. I think Australians are interested in those sorts of questions, whereas what the gallery seems to be engaged in is a juvenile game of quiz to see if, you know, Albo can recite with a photographic memory every single policy dot point. I mean, I think, you know, they're even got the stage where they're actually showing themselves shouting. They tell the cameraman, switch to me so I can be seen to be shouting at them. And let's be clear, there's been some shouting going in both directions. Now, I haven't seen the footage of the incident you're referring to, but the press gallery are actually in a bubble of their own on the bus, not engaged with the issues that the Australian public is. And again, I point to, as much as I think it's a rogue poll, I point to the fact that despite all of the commentary that we've had, you're seeing the Prime Minister's popularity now. Albo's the preferred Prime Minister. The point, and I think you made this point, Shari, and that
it's a huge disconnect, Albanese's performance to what we're seeing in the polls. So, you know, are the polls accurate, or, you know, is no one consuming media anymore, so it's not cutting through? We're out of time, but very quickly, your reaction to this, Miranda, on whether this is gotcha journalism or not.
Look, not at all. Basically, that's the job of the media, is to put the candidates, both of them, under pressure. And a campaign is a microcosm of the pressure that you get when you're actually Prime Minister. So if you can't handle the pressure of a campaign, you are not going to manage being Prime Minister for 3 years.
Yeah. Miranda Devine and Stephen Conroy, great to have you on the show debating, and look forward to your coverage, Miranda, of this election campaign as well.
Thanks, Sharon.